everyone, and welcome to AMC Mailbag, the all mailbag show here on AMC Movie News, where all we do is take your questions. I'm Ashley Mova, and if you've got a question, you can send it over anytime to amcmovietalk@gmail.com. You could get it answered on our daily show, AMC Movie Talk, or our weekend show, AMC Mailbag, and sitting with me to answer some of those questions is the editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, John Campea. John, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I just got to show Ashley. She had not seen that Vacation Red Band trailer yet.
I'm really excited to see it now.
I
wasn't
know,
sure how I was
right?
going to feel about it, but now it looks hilarious.
This is one of those, Dennis just reminded me too. I have been very hesitant about this movie. Crap talking it. I just didn't think this was going to work. Didn't think it was a good idea, blah, blah. And then we talked about it on AMC Movie Talk the other day because the Red Band trailer dropped and I'm like, forget everything I said. This movie looks hilarious.
And Leslie Mann's in there, which I love.
Leslie Mann, Chris Hemsworth scenes were, and then Dennis reminded me, it's like, that's exactly how we felt about 21 Jump Street too, is that this is going to be stupid.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 when movies look stupid, they do end up being stupid, but that 1 time out of 10, when you get a 21 Jump Street or what now looks like Vacation could be, that makes being a movie fan so fun.
Me too. I'm so excited to see it. All right. Derrick F Walker Jr. writes, "Good morning, guys. Love the show. I was wondering if there has been any talk about doing a Back to the Future or White Men Can't Jump remake."
All right. I know for a fact that there have been attempts, talks, discussions, scripts, spec scripts, blah, blah, on Back to the Future. There has been interest in revisiting that. Nothing, nothing definitive or anything like that at this point. Whether or not it'll happen, I'm not sure because I'm still not sure. I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't sure whether that's even a good idea at all. But I know, hey, it's a big recognizable name, a big recognizable franchise. Obviously, there's temptation there to revisit it, but only if it'll make it work. And they're not sure that it can't. With White Men Can't Jump, I'm not sure. Fact checker Jonathan, have you anything on the classic Woody Harrelson, Wesley Snipes film?
No, there was just a random quote from Wesley Snipes about a year ago. He said, "Yeah, man, come on, Woody, let's do it. Actually, they've been trying to get us to do something like that for a while. We just have to figure out the script now." But I mean, that means nothing.
No, that means absolutely nothing. I mean, Wesley, he did The Expendables. He did that third Expendables film, which didn't lead him to anything else. He's not going to be Blade again, so he needs something. I think, you know what? Screw it. I'd be interested in a White Man Can't Jump sequel. I'd be interested. Why not? Watch these guys now in their 50s do. Why not? Why not?
When it comes to Back to the Future, what has Christopher Lloyd been up to?
Well, it's funny because we were just talking off camera about something. Christopher Lloyd is, I believe, the creator and the executive producer of Modern Family.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Fact checker Jonathan, you can just double check that for me. But I'm pretty sure Christopher Lloyd is the guy.
Oh my gosh. So he's not doing, he's not sitting around doing nothing.
No. And of course, and he's popping up in cameos in, what is it, Million Ways to Die in the West? That was, by the way, the funniest moment of that film. Million Ways to Die in the West. If you've seen the movie, it's the first one that MacFarlane. I was going to say Seth Green.
Yeah.
Totally different guy. It's the first film Seth MacFarlane directed after Ted, and there is a great cameo by Christopher Lloyd in it that is really quite funny. Unfortunately, it's also the funniest part of that movie. But anyway, fact checker Jonathan, did you ever find anything else on Christopher Lloyd as far as Modern Family goes? Am I right about that?
Not showing anything with him.
Well, maybe I was dead wrong. I will look it up too.
I just can't see Back to the Future without him.
Oh no, Doc is whatever. Now, if you reboot it, man, that would become honestly. If you rebooted Back to the Future, the biggest question that people are going to be asking is not who's going to play the Michael J. Fox role. The biggest question people are going to ask is who's playing Doc Brown.
So true.
That's the one, because you can get, there's going to be a lot of actors you can get to fit into the Michael J. Fox role. Not a lot of guys that can nail that Doc Brown the way Christopher Lloyd did. That would be a very interesting thing.
No, that's right. Actually, he is producing and writing it.
Oh,
he's a producer, right? Okay, so there we go. Christopher Lloyd, keep him busy.
Keep him busy. All right, Ria K writes, "I just read an article from Hollywood Reporter that Jennifer Lawrence allegedly asked $20 million to star alongside Chris Pratt in The Passengers. What do you think about it? Do you think she is worth the pay asked? I love Jennifer Lawrence. However, I prefer for an actress/actor to get back-end pay as an addition to a more reasonable advance pay, say $5 million, with a certain percentage of profit. Thus, the investment for production costs won't be too high and scare the company. What do you think?"
No, I don't like back end deals. I really don't.
Really?
I don't like them at all. I don't mind them as little bonuses to put in there, but look, both from an actor's point of view and from a production company's point of view. From an acting point of view, let's say you're Jennifer Lawrence. Why she's able to ask for $20 million right now is because everybody wants Jennifer Lawrence in their movie right now. It's supply and demand, folks. Limited supply with huge demand means price goes up. And there is nobody else in Hollywood right now who is as in demand as Jennifer Lawrence is right now. Not only is she's that rare combination of she is the big pop culture girl right now, and she's the Academy Award winner right now. I mean, she's the whole package right now. I know a lot of people feel like they're getting sick and tired over all kind of stuff. Whatever. She's talented, and she's the real deal. And so when you get supply and demand like that, it's actually not unreasonable that she may be asking to be the highest paid actress in the business right now. Why I don't like these back-end deals, though, let's look at it from the actor's point of view. Let's say you're Jennifer Lawrence. You know you can be in just about any movie you want right now, and you know your going rate right now is probably $15 to $20 million. Why would I accept being in your experimental film for $4 million plus 10% of the back end when I have no control over what you do with the rest of your movie? All I can control as Jennifer Lawrence, all I can control.
Oh, Jennifer.
Oh, Jen. I'm so Jen. All I can control is how good of a performance I do. You're the ones who are in control of the entire rest of the movie. And for all I know, your marketing department is going to completely botch the marketing thing. And so if nobody goes to see this movie, it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with you making a bad movie and you putting out a bad marketing campaign, all things completely outside of my control. So from an actor's point of view, why would I want to sign a deal like that? I just don't get it. From a production company's point of view, if I'm a studio, here's the thing. I don't like these back-end deals because if I am the one paying for the movie, let's say my movie costs $50 million to make, and I'm the one who's got to cough up that money. I'm the production company. I'm the studio. I'm putting up $50 million. And let's say Ashley Mova wants to be in my movie. And she says, I'll be in your movie for $3.50 plus 8% of the back end or whatever. Or I'll be in your movie for $1 million plus I want 5%. My first conversation with you is then going to be, okay, that's great. If I lose money, can I take 5% out of the million I gave you? Can I take money away from you? No? Then why should I give you money if it succeeds? If you look, I've always believed this. The people taking the risk, the financial risk, the ones putting up the money are the ones who should lose the money if the project loses money and are the ones who should stand to reward if it makes, because they're the ones going out on a limb taking the risk. You want your $1 million paycheck? Great. Now you get that $1 million, even if my movie ends up losing 30. You still got paid. You don't lose any money. So yeah. I don't like those deals from an actor's perspective. I don't like the deals from a production company's perspective. Like I said, I don't mind it if it's an extra little percentage thing, like, hey, we're going to throw in 0.5%, 1%, whatever, as an extra incentive or as a bonus. But I don't like the idea that the main crux of our contract is going to be based on back end deals. To me, it's just not a good thing.
Lawyer in the house right now. You're kind of convincing me, but I read that their budget was like 80 to 95 million. So to give that huge chunk to Jennifer Lawrence, and then Chris Pratt, I think, was asking for 10 million. So
right.
She gets double what he gets.
That's her worth right now. I mean, look, it's just,
I guess that's what she gets for like tripping on carpets.
Well, yeah, there you go. But her tripping on carpets made everybody fall in love with her. I mean, it's crazy. Remember, it's not about who's the most talented. It's about who's in the most demand.
Yeah, right.
And look, I love Chris Pratt completely. That I have a dude bromance with that guy. I mean, seriously. But Jennifer Lawrence, there's a reason she's got multiple Academy Award nominations. She's got an Oscar on her mantle, and she's going to have more, and she's this freaking young. She is in high demand. She's going to continue to be in high demand. So yeah, she totally warrants and justifies double the pay. Chris Pratt has had one hit movie.
Yeah.
He's about to have two with Jurassic World, but he's had one hit movie. I'm actually impressed he's being able to demand 10 million right now.
He's just such a hot name right now.
He's a very hot name right now.
I work in this world, so I constantly hear his names.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, by the time Jurassic World comes out and then the next Guardians of the Galaxy, he's going to be even hotter. But right now, Jennifer Lawrence is the name. And look, and if you're doing a movie and your budget is $60 million, then be freaking responsible. Yeah. Don't get Jennifer Lawrence. Go get a super talented actress who's not as highly in demand right now that can make your movie good, and be more reasonable with your money. Because look, we talked about this before on the show. we're not in an era anymore where just a big star's name in it does not draw people out to theater. It can give your movie credibility with an audience. Like an audience member who watches a trailer, no matter how good the trailer is, if there's nobody in that trailer they recognize, they kind of disassociate themselves with the movie. Put a name in it they recognize, it may not make them go out to the theater to watch the movie, but at least now in their heads it's a possibility they may go because, the movie suddenly now has credibility with them. You get no better credibility than with Jennifer Lawrence in there right now, or George Clooney or whatever. But if you're making that movie and you got $60 million and your actress wants 20, be smart, be responsible, get another actress.
That's true. Justin K writes, "Hey guys, thanks for the awesome shows. I'm curious if you have ever dramatically changed your rating or care for a movie from the theatrical release compared to the director's cut. From not caring so much for the original movie to loving the director's cut version or vice versa. A big one for me is Kingdom of Heaven. I know all director cuts are different from how much they add, but there are a few that have come out where I can't even go back and watch the original. Thanks, guys."
Yeah, Kingdom of Heaven is the one that everybody goes to and talked about. Director's cuts that improve the movie, everybody talks about Kingdom of Heaven because the theatrical release is just bad. And I am not... a lot of people say, oh man, the director's cut of Kingdom of Heaven is awesome. No, it's not. It's better. It's better. But it did not take a bad movie and make it awesome, although it is better. To me, director's cuts don't exist. To me, the theatrical version is the movie. That's the movie. That's the movie that the director made, the production company approved, that the writers wrote, blah, 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 and it all came together. And then one final package, what got put into theaters, what was first exposed to me as I sat in a movie theater and watched, that's the movie. And anything else, director's cuts, whatever. Now, remember, this is just me. I know I've got a lot of friends that love director's cuts. For good or for bad, they actually love director's cuts, even when they make the movie worse. And I've seen a lot of director's cuts that make the movie worse. But for me, that movie that I saw that you put out in theaters, that is the version of the movie. That's why, to me, like the special editions just don't exist to me. You know, I own them because I have to own them. But when I'm talking about Star Wars, by the way, the Star Wars special editions. But to me, the definitive Star Wars will always be those movies as they were when I first saw them. That's the movie to me. So, I mean, with these director's cuts, yeah, Kingdom of Heaven improved it. There's a couple of others that improve. A lot of them make the movie worse. And you go, oh, no, it was a good idea that they cut it the way they did for the movie theater. But honestly, for me, I don't even give it much thought because to me, the director's cuts are just Elseworld. They're what-if worlds. They're not real to me. The real movie to me is the theatrical version.
Who decides the theatrical? Is that the execs and the marketing people that decides what goes into the theatrical version?
Yeah, well, ultimately, when it comes down, unless you have a director who has like final cut or whatever, and mostly it's a mixture of the director of the film with the producer of the film, whoever your head producer is. There's like one movie can have 20 people calling themselves producer, but ultimately there's a guy or a woman who is the producer of the film, you know? And ultimately it will be a triumvirate of the director, the producer, and the production company, the studio itself. And ultimately, when they put final picture lock on something, it's all three of those entities signing off on it and say, yeah, this is what we're going with. And there's some exceptions. There have been some deals where directors write into their contract that they get final cut of the movie. That means whatever's going to show up on the big screen is what they say, no matter what the studio says or whatever. I find that's not a good thing generally. So generally, it's usually a triumvirate of producer, director, company.
Do director's cuts tend to be longer? I feel like they would be longer than...
They do tend to be longer. They add extra stuff. And here's the funny thing. Don't be fooled. A lot of director's cuts that you'll find on like Blu-rays and stuff like that now, especially, those are usually done by the production company too, or the studio.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Sorry to burst the happy illusion time. It's the studio understanding, hey, we can sell more copies now by putting director's cut. Our director shot that scene that we cut out. Let's put it back in and call it director's cut. There are some legit director's cuts out there, but a lot of the things that label themselves as director's cuts are just the producers in the studio slapping a few
Wow.
things back in
That's
there and putting out and
scandalous.
calling it the director's cut.
Wow. All right. Matt Delaney writes, I love the show and have been watching for almost 2 years now. I'm a business
Thank
major
you.
and trying to figure out what I want to do with my life after school. I've always been drawn to the idea of starting a YouTube show one day. Personally, I think you and your team have done an amazing job with the development of AMC Movie Talk and have truly made an astounding YouTube show. With all this in mind, I have read the statistics and know that the failure rate of YouTube shows is a lot higher than the success rate. So I am assuming you took a risk when it came to starting AMC Movie Talk. What was it that led you to take this leap of faith and believe that this show could be the amazing success that it is today? Thanks and keep bringing the filthy.
Hey, thanks a lot for the question, Matt. I love, one of the things I like about AMC Mailbag is that we are a lot more casual, and we'll talk about some behind the scenes stuff here. When you say that the statistics show that a lot more YouTube channels fail than succeed, that's an understatement. I mean, and it depends on what your definition of success is. If you're somebody who just wants to make a YouTube channel to engage in a hobby that's a lot of fun, have a few people watch it, and you can engage with other fans, then you can succeed. Anybody can succeed. However, I find when a lot of people want to talk to me about succeeding at YouTube, what they want to do really is make a living by sitting at home and making YouTube videos. That's significantly more difficult. Like that's one for every 10,000 people that do it can actually then, earn a living doing it. And I might be being generous when I say one out of every 10,000. Right. So I would never encourage anybody to pursue a career in making YouTube videos.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. That's like wanting to pursue a career to be a professional NBA basketball player. I mean, one out of every million kids in the world who like to play basketball will actually end up making it to the NBA. So it's a tough one. And if you're like a 37-year-old dude sitting at home right now, don't start your goal of pursuing an NBA career. Probably a bad idea.
Sad.
If you're 15 and you're good at basketball,
And
chase
you're
that
tall
dream.
enough,
Chase
go
that
get it.
dream. But I mean, it's a difficult thing. Why? What was it that made us go in this direction? Because when I started with AMC, here's the thing. Going back, when I started with AMC, when AMC first came to me, and I was approached by a guy at AMC by the name of Justin Gardner, who was the social media manager at AMC. I worked with him for like 6 years. I'm really upset that he's not with the company anymore, but whatever. At any rate, when they came to me originally, the idea at first was we just want to write blog posts. We want to write blog posts for the AMC website. And I said, that's cool, but if I come on, you got to know that eventually we're going to go in the way of podcasting and online video. And that was like, okay, whatever to them. But when we started, and full marks and credit to AMC, because when they started, it was like, no editorializing, no saying you like something, no saying you don't like something, because, we got to be above that. And I totally got where they were coming from. But full marks to AMC as a company, because we kept hammering them with the idea, let's move in the direction of podcasting and video. This is where movie fans are hungry for this sort of stuff. Let us go in that direction. And little by little, AMC, a lot of companies and corporations would just say, no. But AMC was like, little by little, okay, let's try it. They're very adventurous, actually, AMC as a company. And so they let us do it. I fortunately had some success already in online blogging and podcasting. I had won the first, me and my buddy, we had won the first inaugural Podcast of the Year award for a movie podcast we did called AMC, or not AMC, it was called the Movie Blog Audio Edition. And back when I ran the Movie Blog Audio, oddly enough, and we were the world's first movie podcast. And for some time, we were one of the world's longest running podcasts too, before I left. And so we had some success with that. And I've always felt like movie fans and sports fans, hence I do a lot of sports analogies, even if there's not a lot of movie fans who are sports fans or whatever, I've always felt that we are actually a lot more alike than you might think. And I am both. I am a big sports fan, I'm a big movie fan, obviously. I've always felt that when I would stand around with my buddies and talk about movies, I often found out that those discussions often sounded a lot like the discussions I would have with my sports buddies when talking about the game the previous night. The talk and the interaction, the energy level, and what we like to point out, whatever, and compare, we'd talk about statistics, and it's like, and I started realizing, you know what? We are an awful lot like, we are fans, sports. And I thought, no one out there is doing anything. No one out there is doing shows that talk about movies the way me and my buddies talk about movies. And I thought, I wanted to make a show based around that, bringing that passion of a sports fan to, talking about movies. And a lot of people who write in, a lot of AMC viewers have commented, it's like, man, I love AMC Movie Talk. It's like Sports Center on ESPN for movie fans. And I'm like, right on. Thank you for getting it. Thank you for getting it, because that's kind of what we go for. Because that's how I like to. When me and Dennis sit around, or John, groups of us sit around, we're talking about movies. Just change the names that we're using, and you'd swear we're talking about last night's football game, because we have that kind of passion, energy, and excitement. And I totally believed, because I had already had a little bit of success at it, that if we got out ahead of it, really pioneered this, got out ahead of it, and did a show like that, I believe people would want to watch. And we started it, AMC got behind it, and they got behind it more as we started to show some success, and they got behind it more and more success and whatever. And it's just been a great ride. I mean, obviously having the best and most talented people in the world really helps. And we have the greatest people here at AMC Movie News. So there's a lot of different things, but to me, the thing that made me know I wanted to roll the dice and that it worked is I believe that as a film fan, that there was a real lack of this voice of passionate film fans, not talking as art snobs, but talking as fans, like me and my sports buddies talk. And I believe if we did a show like that and talk like most movie fans actually talk, I thought we would get an audience, and I thought people would want to join us in those discussions too and be a part of it. And so far, so good. I mean, things are going pretty good.
Matt can do it too.
Matt can do it too. Whether you can make a career out of it, I'm not sure. But
you can do it for fun too. It doesn't have to be a full-on career.
I totally encourage you. You know what? And let me point this out too. I really like helping people get started and stuff like that. So a number of months ago, I'll plug this again. It's totally free. It's on our YouTube channel. Just search for Getting Started in Online Film Punditry or Online Film Talk. Getting Started in Online Film Talk. And your first search result should be a video that I did. It's 2 hours long, just talking about a little bit of background and how you can get started in movie podcasting, talking about movies on YouTube. But it doesn't have to be about movies. You can take these principles and apply them in anything else. It's there for you to use as a resource. I encourage you to go check it out, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you.
Hopefully. All right, Christian C. writes, been watching you guys for over a year now and try to watch the show every chance I get. With Rogue One taking place in between episodes 3 and 4, is there a chance they will make a movie that takes place in between the original trilogy movies? Personally, I would love to see an adaptation of the Shadows of the Empire arc from the expanded universe. And since there are rumors of a Boba Fett movie coming, I think this would fit perfectly with his character. What do you guys think? Keep up the great work.
Here's the funny thing. I'm going to go off in real sweaty nerd territory, okay? I am also very much a tabletop role-playing game guy. I got the dice and the pencils and the character sheets and the whole bit. And my all-time favorite role-playing game is now out of print, but you can still find it around. It's the West End Games. Very important because there are different Star Wars role-playing games out there. But the West End Games D6 version of the Star Wars role-playing game. It's the original Star Wars role-playing game. And I pretty much nerd out about that. Actually, me and Maud play a game with, we got a group of friends and we play Star Wars role-playing game, and it's great. And we sit around, we'll put on Star Wars music in the background. We've all got our character sheets and dice, and we have a really good time.
You guys have to dress up when you do that.
We haven't, but maybe we should.
Get in the spirit.
It's funny. Me and Maud and Schnepp, and we've actually talked about bringing a video camera inside and just whether it's Periscope or a live stream on YouTube, and just stream a live session of us playing. Now we'll have to put a little warning at the front, say there may be language in this game session, but whatever. But here, okay, what's the point of all this? The point of all this is that whenever we would play games, honestly, even going back when I still lived in Canada, me and my buddies would play games. Inevitably, our game sessions, our adventures always took place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. That was always the time frame that we liked. Still in the age of the Empire, but before the fall of the Empire with the results and the destruction of the second Death Star, but after the events of Empire Strikes Back, where the Empire still, is striking back and has a firm hold on the galaxy. And we would always put our stories there, and we'd always put our adventures there. And so I think that moving forward, I really do think that that era is ripe for Star Wars anthology movies, because you don't want to. I don't want them to go back and use Han Solo but you can still use Vader. Vader don't age. Plastic black masks don't age. So, I mean, you can still allude to a lot of stuff. You got the classic Stormtrooper looks, the classic TIE fighters, the classic Age of the Empire is in there. So I think there's so much you can do in there. But don't make them prequels. Like, don't make it about a young Han Solo or a young this or young that. Take totally new sets of characters and tell a new story that happens in that universe. And I think there's a lot you can do there. Now, let me get back to my Star Wars role-playing game. I think in the next couple of weeks on Star Wars, our AMC Jedi Council show, we're gonna take about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna shoot a tutorial video on how you and your friends can learn, it's easy to learn and play a Star Wars role-playing game.
Oh my gosh.
And where you can get the source books and all that kind of stuff. I'll give you all that kind of stuff. Keep your eyes open for it on AMC Jedi Council.
That sounds really fun.
I'm telling you, Ashley, you would have so much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody
really
we've ever brought in to play a game suddenly goes, I never knew this could be this much fun. We always have such a good time. There may be some drinking involved, but
perfect.
It's always
right up my alley.
good time. Absolutely.
All right. Chadwick Shreves writes, I was just wondering, just why do so many bad movies happen? I look at films like Sucker Punch and The Last Airbender and think that surely there had to be red flags all over the place in time for the studios to have stopped it before it became a disaster. Thanks for the great videos.
Well, okay, look, we've mentioned this before in the show. We talk about it a lot on the show, though, is that everybody starts off thinking they're going to make a great movie and hoping to make a great movie and aiming to make a great movie. They read the script. They have a vision in their head about how it's going to turn out and all this kind of stuff. And they go ahead. And you're right. At some point, you know, this isn't working. We've had episodes of AMC Movie Talk where, like, at some point in the show, I realized this one's a stinker. I'm sucking today or whatever, you know. And at some point in a bad movie's, development, there has to come that point for the producers or the director even who realize, like, maybe it's halfway through production, maybe more than likely it's probably closer to the end of production as they're seeing, on the side edit room, not when they're putting the final edit together, but they're putting together the dailies and putting rough cuts together. They're realizing this isn't working out the way I want. I hope the last act makes it all come together or whatever. We'll do some reshoots, whatever. At some point that time comes. But here's the thing. I think for the most part, when that time comes, is so far into the production of the movie that by this point, the studio has either spent or committed to spending probably 90% of their production budget. Oof. And let's say your movie's a $70 million movie, right? You've got a $70 million movie. You've already spent 50 or 60 of it and committed to paying another 5 or 6. So you can't just pull the plug. You've already spent $65 million. Your best bet at this point is to finish that movie, get a good marketing campaign for it, put 20 or 30 million into it, then release it and hope that it makes enough money at the box office that you lose, maybe break even, maybe make money. But even if you lose $30 million, you're going to lose less money than if you had just pulled the plug on the movie when you were $65 million in the hole. Because if you're a production company and let's say you got a $20 million movie and you're $15 million into it, if you just pull the plug, you're just out $15 million. You finish it off, get it in theaters, you might be able to make a profit or lose less than $15 million. So yeah, I agree. Every movie starts off with the hope of making something good and the belief that they can make something good. For the bad movies, there does come a point when they probably realize they got a stinker, but usually to get to that point, you have to be so far into the production of it that it's too late. You can't turn back. All you can do, like they did with World War Z, is go to the production company and say, can we have some more money to do reshoots and fix this? And a lot of times they'll say, no, we got no more money to give you. Just make the best movie you can and put it out, and let's try to lose as little money as possible.
This is depressing.
It's a tough business.
What would you say is the point of no return, spending more than half of your budget?
It depends on what the budget is. Yeah. I mean, and what you believe you can still make. So let's say you have a $50 million movie, right? Yeah, maybe you could say the point of no return is 25 million, but if you believe, look, we've got elements in this movie that we could put into make a great trailer. We got a big name star. We think our posters are going to look good. And we believe that even if this movie does not turn out as good as we wanted it to turn out, we believe on the marketing alone, we can still make our money back. then your point of no return was passed when you spent the first when you cut the first $5 million check. So yeah, it's not so much about where financially is your point of no return. It's where are you in your production that becomes the point of no return. And that usually comes and goes pretty fast.
Depressing topic, right?
Yes.
Zachary Greenspan writes, "Hi guys, I was just wondering why in the Transformers a human always has to be the lead role. Why can't the lead just be a robot or at least focus on a robot? I personally think that it would make the movie a lot more interesting. We could see more into the robots themselves. I just get tired of the humans. What do you think? Thanks and keep doing what you do."
Well, look, Zachary, between you and me, yeah, I want a movie about Optimus Prime, not whatever that character was in the last Transformers movie, because that wasn't Optimus Prime. I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you. What? That isn't Optimus Prime. Anyway, yeah, I want a movie about Starscream and Megatron and their constant bickering, and I want to see, this is the stuff we want to see, but that's you and that's me. We do not represent a profitable cutoff mark for the studios. The wider movie-going audience does. And for the wider movie-going audience, you can hook them into a Transformers movie because, look, we got Mark Wahlberg. And it's for the non-Transformers fans or other types of movies like that, you got to hook in the audience with your human characters. You just do. It's an unfortunate reality, but it is a reality nonetheless. But that does not excuse the last Transformers movie, because you can make a Transformers movie with a human in the lead and still make it a damn good movie. You can do it. They just didn't do it. And that's the problem. And what do we always say? Winning cures everything. That's a sports analogy. Winning cures all your problems. Your two stars on the team don't like each other. There's financial troubles. Fans are mad at you. You know what? You win, all the problems go away. You make a great movie, nobody worries about what could have been the problems. But when your movie sucks, we start looking at the problems. Why were human characters the leads instead of the Transformers? Why does everything got to happen on Earth? Why can't we go to Cybertron? Blah, blah, blah. When the movie's awesome, we don't worry about it. When the movie's bad, we start finding those things. We start pointing them out. Understandably so and rightfully so. So you and me, Zachary, you and I can go grab a pack of Diet Pepsi, big bag of Doritos, sit down and watch our totally start to finish CGI Transformers movie. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a lot of people joining us to do it. That's the unfortunate part. So I get it, but it's not an excuse that you can't make a good movie anyway. And they just didn't.
The question kind of reminded me of, and I know they're so different, but it reminded me of Chappie. Just because the robot was the main focus. What did you like, Chappie?
No, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah, it was really not rated well either. How'd it go wrong?
Man, where did they go wrong with that? I don't know.
It was a cool idea.
But I'm starting to lose faith in Neil Blomkamp because District 9 was insanely good. So good. I love that movie. And then came Elysium, which I was so excited for. And that movie was it's just a bad movie. It's not garbage and giant crap. No, but it's not a good movie. And then, Chappie, it's like, okay, kind of excited about it, but it sounds just like the last two movies he did. And then I went to watch, it's like, ugh. Like, there's just nothing to it. And you know what? We talked, I think, on yesterday's mailbag about the Russo brothers. Somebody wrote and asked, goes, does it worry you that just after doing one good movie, they handed the Russo brothers the key to the kingdoms to do Civil War and Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2? Neil Blomkamp is a good reason why. Yeah, Blomkamp gave us one hell of a movie, The District 9. But that was one movie, and then look what we've gotten since. I hope he redeems himself with his following projects, because you could see sparks of genius in that dude with that District 9 movie. But yeah, it's kind of what makes me now nervous about directors getting all this responsibility and all this heaps of everything based on one good movie. Right. It's a little unnerving.
Right. Robert Clark writes, "Hey, AMC news crew, I often look online for movie news, and oftentimes I feel like there's a lot of misguided or false stories out there. You guys are awesome at giving correct, confirmed stories, but I haven't found any other online source that strikes me as very credible. Where else can I find credible sources?"
Yeah, we are a part of this. In some ways, this industry that we're in, the online movie punditry and news reporting industry and stuff like that, in a lot of ways, this is a great time. but in a lot of ways it's a very bad time. Standards, I've talked about this a lot. Standards in our industry right now are incredibly low. Yeah. It used to be, you know that show, The Newsroom? There's, I think it was either the first episode or one of the first few episodes. They're in the newsroom, there's a story breaking, and the lead guy is like, we are not running with it without 2 confirmed sources. Two sources or it's not real. That was the thing he kept saying. Because the integrity that they had and the respect for their audience that they had in that show was of paramount importance. The online, websites like Movie Pilot and whatever, nobody cares anymore if something is real or not. All they care about is how fast can we put something online that hopefully will get views and hits. That's it. And whether it misleads their audience, they don't care. Whether it's totally wrong information, they don't care. They just want to put out something that is going to get attention. And I remember, it was just a couple of months ago when, do you guys remember this? When that Batman versus Superman is being split into 2 parts.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And this whole thing came from an image that somebody pulled off of Photo Bucket that looked like it was from a TV screen angled, and it just said Batman v Superman Part 1. What was it? Enter the Night? Yes, it was Enter the Night, because I remember it sounded like a bad 70s porn title. And it was called Enter the Night, and then Part 2, whatever. And it was like, there was absolutely no source for it. It came from some anonymous thing on Photo Bucket. There was absolutely no justification in the world to believe it was real. And yet, websites ran with that as Batman v Superman being split into 2 movies. They knew it wasn't true. They knew it wasn't real. And that, when I see stuff like that happening in this industry, it really breaks my heart. And it's one of the reasons why I don't do breaking news. I mean, we do breaking news, but we don't break the stories. I am not in the scoop game. The scoop game is a dangerous slippery slope that should only be handled by the most skilled of journalists with the highest of integrity. I'm not a journalist. So we talk about the news that has been broke, and we break it down. We try to make it make sense for people, give different opinions and angles of looking at it, all that kind of stuff. But we don't break the stories, because I don't think we can do it. We're not, we don't have journalism degrees here. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. That's not our identity. And that one example, that Batman v Superman being split into 2 things, based on what? An anonymous image that somebody made in Photoshop, that somebody pulled off of Photo Bucket, and everybody ran with it as a headline. Heartbreaking. And unfortunately, we see these types of things happening all the time. They happen all the time because nobody has any journalistic integrity in our industry right now. It's very, not nobody, but it's rare. It's rare. So who do you trust? Who can you trust? Look, nobody is infallible. So any source I'm going to name here will probably have made mistakes, will make mistakes in the future, but these are places that I know try to make sure they got it right before they run with it. They won't always succeed. None of us will. We make mistakes. They make mistakes. You make mistakes. It happens, but these are at least sources that I know try to make sure they get it right before running with it. You got some of your old school trades that have now moved into the digital world. The Hollywood Reporter. The Hollywood Reporter runs it. That doesn't mean it's confirmed, but it believes it's good enough that you should probably at least listen to it, take into consideration. Variety is one of those things. I've had issues with The Wrap, but for better or for worse, The Wrap is also a place that tries to get it right, and far more times than they get it wrong, they do get it right. So The Wrap is a good one. I'm a big fan of ComingSoon.net, one of the oldest running websites out there. So that's one I really believe in and I trust a lot. There's not movie. Why am I forgetting the name of this one site I've been reading for years? And now I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I would say you won't go wrong if you stick with sites like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, The Wrap. If you hear Entertainment Weekly break something, probably. These are still places that really do try to get it right and try to have some levels of integrity in doing their job. And now that doesn't mean that sites I'm not mentioning aren't worth reading. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just telling you which ones I go to and I kind of trust and rely on when I check things out. So look, you may have a favorite site. maybe your site is like us and they're not into breaking scoops. So don't try to judge them by the same criteria or anything like that. But I would be very wary of sites like Movie Pilot or whatever. That's just me. That's just my personal opinion. Be very careful.
Who should you never trust? No, I'm totally kidding.
I'm not going to go there.
All right, that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. And just a reminder, lots of great movies being shown in AMC theaters today. So go ahead and head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your show times, your movie times, and your ticket information. And if you want a podcast version of this episode, check out the description box below for a link to our podcast. And make sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks to the guys in the room, Dennis and Jonathan. And John, where can people find you online?
You guys can follow me on Twitter, on Facebook, because guys, a lot of stuff and announcements that happen about AMC Movie News, sometimes I drop them first on my Twitter or on my Facebook. So you can follow me there simply at John Campia.
Ooh, and you guys can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Ashley Mova. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks so much again for joining us. And we'll catch you on Movie Talk tomorrow. Bye, guys.